one of my recent videos, I discussed exegesis and eisegesis. So last night I came across a video that YouTuber mentioned Christmas, and she told her viewers that she celebrated Jesus' birthday on Christmas Day, even though she knew that Jesus' birthday wasn't on December 25th. And she didn't think that Christmas was pagan holiday. And she was quite popular because she claimed herself received God's dreams from God. So I don't know how she validate herself, but anyway, but she thought Christmas was the day, a special day to celebrate Jesus' birthday. She thought that Christmas was not a pagan holiday. So that's a really great example of exegesis and eisegesis. Exegesis is legitimate interpretation which reads out of the text what the original author or authors meant to convey. So in this case, this YouTuber was using eisegesis. On the other hand, reads into the text what the interpreter wishes to find or thinks he finds there. It expresses the reader's own subjective ideas, not the meaning which is in the text. So she was using eisegesis to read the Bible and told her viewers that Christmas was not pagan. Christmas was a special day to celebrate Jesus' birthday. And so I just want to warn you guys, in these last moments, a lot of Satan minions revealing themselves one by one, just tiny little bit, not necessarily a huge problem, not necessarily like all of a sudden turn into a demon, but just like one sentence already revealed themselves as an agent, okay? And I never trusted her dreams, even though she claimed that God gave her those dreams. But clearly that she celebrated Christmas, even though she knew that Jesus' birthday wasn't on December 25th, and she didn't think Christmas was pagan. And in the Bible, Jesus never told us to celebrate his birthday. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to go over some important days with you guys as we're approaching the end of the week right now. So this week, I watch time for major FFs starting tomorrow, the 14th, then 16, 17, Friday, Saturday. Next week, I watch time for Rapture, 20th and 21st, the 10th day of the 12th month in Enoch calendar, then the 24th, 25th, the 14th day of the 12th month in Enoch calendar, which is the full moon will be on Saturday, the 24th. And how much time for major FFs next week? This Sunday, the 18th, 218 is their popular number. And then 22nd, 23rd, 24th could be 25th as well. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then the rest of the end of February, 26th, 28, 29. Could be 27, but like relatively lower, lesser important than 26, 28, 29, right? Anyway, so at the end of the month, average time for rapture is the 27 and 28. Is the 17th day of the 12th month in Enoch calendar. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to address the water physical properties. They say the sea level is rising because of the glaciers melting. Technically, it should be decreasing, instead of rising, because when water freezes, it increases in volume, about 9% for fresh water. The effect of expansion during freezing can be dramatic. So, which means when glaciers melting turn into liquid form, the volume is decreasing instead of increasing, so the sea level should be decreasing instead of increasing. So they are lying about the physical properties of water so that people would worry about the climate change, quote unquote. Okay, so now I'd like to revisit Matthew, the book of Matthew. Earlier, I think last week or a week ago, I discussed Matthew chapter 22 and 25. Now I'd like to discuss again, but I would like to discuss Matthew chapter 22, 23, 24, 25. Because as we're approaching next week, Thursday to the following Sunday, the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Okay. These numbers are also coincide with Genesis 222, 223, 224, and then and Genesis chapter 3. Because it's all circled back to the beginning of time. Adam and Eve, Satan, King, then related to Jesus. Okay, so Matthew chapter 22 actually divided in 3 sections. The first section is the parable of the marriage feast. The parable of the marriage feast, Matthew 2:22. The kingdom of heaven may be, quote unquote, compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son. So it's a parable. It's comparison to elaborate the importance of the kingdom of heaven. Okay. Okay. The second section of chapter 22, is the tribute to Caesar. So the Pharisees went and conspired together, plotting how to trap him by distorting what he said. That him is Jesus. So they tried to trap Jesus and flame him, but they failed. Then I'd like to go over this section. The third section of chapter 22 is about Jesus answers the Sadducees. Okay, chapter 22, 23, 2, 3. On that day, some Sadducees who say that there is no resurrection of the dead came to him and asked him a question, saying, Teacher, Moses said, if a man dies leaving no children, his brother as next of kin shall marry his widow and raise children for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers among us. The first married and died, and having no children left his wife to his brother. The second also died childless, and the third down to the 7th. Last of all, the woman died. So in the resurrection, whose wife of the 7 will she be? For they all had married her. But Jesus replied to them, You are all wrong, because you know neither the scriptures which teach the resurrection, nor the power of God, for he is able to raise the dead. Okay, so the answer here, Matthew 22:30. For in the resurrection neither do men marry, nor are women given in marriage, but they are like angels in heaven, who do not marry nor produce children. This verse clearly states that the marriage supper in the end times immediately after the 7 years of Great Tribulation is not about the marriage between Jesus and the saints. It's the marriage between Jesus and New Jerusalem, and the saints is considered as the guests of the marriage supper, because I will repeat again, Matthew 22:30. For in the resurrection neither do men marry nor a woman given in marriage, but they are like angels in heaven, who do not marry nor produce children. No marriage. So the marriage supper, the saints are not the bride. The saints, the righteousness of the saints is the fine white linen for the bride. The bride is the New Jerusalem. Revelation 19:19. Then the saints are the guests to enjoy the wedding feast. Here's the answer. So if you go watch any YouTube videos, and if that person, that YouTuber, keeps saying he or she is the bride of Jesus, you better not believe anything that YouTubers say. That person most likely is the control opposition. That's all I can say. Okay, so but as to the resurrection of the dead, have you not read in the scripture what God said to you? I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. When the crowds heard this, they were astonished at his teaching. Now, when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. One of them, a lawyer, asked Jesus a question to test him. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And Jesus replied to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is, unselfishly seek the best or higher good for others. The whole law and the writings of the prophets depend on these 2 commandments. Now, while the Pharisees were still gathered together, Jesus asked them a question. What do you Pharisees think of the Christ, the Messiah, the Anointed? Whose son is he? They said to him, the son of David. Jesus asked them, How is it then that David, by the inspiration of the Spirit, calls him Lord, saying, The Lord the Father said to my Lord, the Son, the Messiah, Sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet. So then, if David calls him the Son, the Messiah, Lord, how is he David's son? No one was able to say a word to him in answer, nor from that day on did anyone dare to question him again. So, I just want to point out Matthew 22:30. The resurrection neither man married nor a woman given in marriage, but they are like angels in heaven who do not marry nor produce children. Then Matthew 22:37 and then 22:39 and then let's see 22:44. So 22:37, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind is the greatest commandment in the law. Then the second one is, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, that is, unselfishly seek the best or higher good for others. And then 22:44, the Lord the Father said to my Lord the Son, the Messiah, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet. And so chapter 3 also divided into 3 sections. The first section is Phariseeism exposed. The second is eight woes. Then the third section is lament over Jerusalem. Then Jesus spoke to the crowds and his disciples, saying, the scribes and Pharisees have seated themselves in Moses' chair of authority as teachers of the law. So practice and observe everything they tell you, but do not do as they do. For they preach things but do not practice them. The scribes and Pharisees tie up heavy loads that are hard to bear and place them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not lift a finger to make them lighter. They do all the deeds to be seen by men, for they make their phylacteries wide to make them more conspicuous and make their tassels long. They love the place of distinction and honor at feasts and the best seats in the synagogues, those on the platform near the scrolls of the law, facing the congregation, and to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and public forums, and to have people call them rabbi. But do not be called rabbi teacher, for one is your teacher, and you are all equal brothers. Do not call anyone on earth who guides you spiritually your father, for one is your father, he who is in heaven. Do not let yourselves be called leaders or teachers, for one is your leader, teacher, the Christ. But the greatest among you will be your servant. Whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, and whoever humbles himself shall be raised to honor. Okay. And then let's see. Basically, the fake people, the fake JEWS, they are what Jesus said here. Matthew 23:5 to 6, 7. Then we are not supposed to call anybody rabbi, which is teacher. Only Jesus Christ is the rabbi, is the teacher. For one is your teacher, and you are all equally brothers. Only Christ is the teacher, okay? So nobody is rabbi on earth. Do not call anyone on earth who guides you spiritually your father, for one is your father, he who is in heaven. So 23:8, for one is your teacher. The one means Jesus Christ. Matthew 23:9, for one is your father. The one means God in heaven. Then do not let yourselves be called leaders or teachers, for one is your leader, teacher, the Christ. Again, 23:10, Jesus Christ is the leader and is the teacher, but no one else on earth. But the greatest among you will be your servant. So, which means the apostles, like for example, Apostle Paul, Peter, etc., Matthew, they are the servants, right? And we are the servants too. Okay. Whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, and whoever humbles himself shall be raised to honor. So that's it. Then 8 woes. Matthew 23:13. But woe, judgment is coming to you, self-righteous scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut off the kingdom of heaven in front of people. For you do not enter yourselves, nor do you allow those who are in the process of entering to do so. The second woe. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you swallow up widows' houses, and to cover it up you make long prayers. Therefore you will receive the greater condemnation. Third woe. Woe to you, self-righteous scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you travel over sea and land to make a single proselyte convert to Judaism, and when he becomes a convert, you make him twice as much a son of hell as you are. The fourth woe. Woe to you, blind guides, who say whoever swears an oath by the sanctuary of the temple, that is nothing, non-binding, but whoever swears an oath by the gold of the temple is obligated as a debtor to fulfill his vow and keep his promise. You fools and blind men, which is more important, the gold or the sanctuary of the temple that sanctified the gold? And you scribes and Pharisees say, whoever swears an oath by the altar, that is nothing, non-binding, but whoever swears an oath by the offering on it, he is obligated as a debtor to fulfill his vow and keep his promise. You spiritually blind men, which is more important, the offering or the altar that sanctifies the offering? Therefore, whoever swears an oath by the altar swears both by it and by everything offered on it. And whoever swears an oath by the sanctuary of the temple swears by it and by him who dwells within it.